Good evening, Mr. Bond fans, and welcome once again, where if you're anything like me, you have probably been rewatching and dissecting that No Time to Die trailer frame by frame since it was first released, and I've made no secret on this channel of the fact that I'm not so hot on the idea of the Daniel Craig series revisiting elements from previous films, mainly Blofeld and Spectre, and yet, ever since that No Time to Die trailer first launched, the number one thing I've been thinking about and wondering is how that film is going to utilize Blofeld and Spectre in different and interesting ways. The initial development that Blofeld was going to be back came as a huge surprise to many, including me, and especially coming after Waltz had himself said in interviews that he didn't expect to be coming back, and even going so far as to say that he didn't think he really nailed the role in the first place. So honestly, I was expecting Craig's final film to be a standalone adventure, and Blofeld would appear as a villain in a future timeline where we had a different guy playing Bond, and we'd have a different guy playing Blofeld, and it would be a different kind of timeline, but they'd just kind of pick it up like the hero and villain have known each other all along. But no, Waltz is very much in No Time to Die, and news of this first broke in mid-2019 when Waltz was spotted by a visitor at Pinewood Studios, and I made a video back in July talking about this as the most interesting bit of news about the film at that point, but that news also broke around the time that rumours came out about Lashana Lynch's character potentially being 007, and everyone wanted to talk about that instead, and as such, the Waltz news kind of got swept under the rug, and I think a lot of us who did pick up on it and found it more interesting than the whole Lashana Lynch thing just kind of assumed it would be a surprise cameo for when the film was released, but no, they very much reveal him in the trailer, and given that he has a relatively prominent billing in the press release credits, I assume he's going to be in it more than just one scene. So his return obviously begs the question, well, will Spectre return as well? I mean, it certainly seems like yes, based on some of the other things we can glean from the trailer. I mean, I have Shane Mackey on Twitter to thank for drawing my attention to this particular detail back in December, but if you look closely in one of these shots, you can see that Dr. Vogel, a Spectre agent from Spectre, is present, and then it looks like in a later shot, she and everyone else around Bond is breathing in some kind of gas and falling to the ground. Now, given that Bond is looking quite shocked and confused in these shots, I'm guessing that in the film he will have been lured to this party and it will be something of a reveal that, hey, this is the Spectre shareholders annual ball and this is the age-old tradition where we open up the floor beneath an unsuspecting agent to reveal a pool of piranhas. But given that Bond continues to look shocked when everyone is dropping down around him and he presumably isn't being affected by the gas that's causing everyone else to collapse, this begs the question, is someone actually taking out Spectre here? And will that someone be Rami Malek's Saffin character? And has Bond been unknowingly given some kind of antidote or resistance to whatever it is that everyone else is breathing in? And if this really is Spectre being taken out, what does that mean for Blofeld? I mean, in the trailer, he's obviously incarcerated, and it looks like Bond and Madeline Swan have arrived to interrogate him about whatever is going on and potentially ask for some assistance. So it's a Hannibal Lecter / the Joker / Silver situation, you know, take your pick of those, but if this is truly going to be Daniel Craig's final Bond film, and they're going to the effort of bringing Blofeld back and having him factor into the story, surely that means we're going to get some closure, right? And by closure, I mean he's probably going to die. And then if he is going to die, how? I can't imagine Bond just killing him in cold blood in this interrogation scenario. I mean, as much as I wish he'd killed him in cold blood on Westminster Bridge in the last film, but we already had Silver break out of jail a couple of films ago, so I don't think they'd redo that plot element. So I'm thinking, this is my guess, that Blofeld will die because of Saffin rather than Bond, and this is going to be the film's way of telling us that Saffin is the biggest of the bads. He's taken out Spectre and he's taken out Blofeld. I'm guessing that Blofeld's going to be in his cell, and then there'll be an imposter security guard who comes in and kills him, or maybe some kind of gas will be pumped into his cell that'll kill him. I think something like that is bound to happen. But how will No Time to Die handle the whole Oberhauser, Bond's adoptive brother thing? Well, I would put money on them not handling it at all. I don't think we're going to go into any of Bond's personal history in this one, and I think at most we'll get Blofeld maybe saying a sarcastic, "Hello, brother," brother as Bond enters the interrogation room. It's telling that the shot of the computer screen in the prison gives his name as Blofeld rather than Oberhauser, but this date of birth thing still annoys me. Bond's passport in Casino Royale gave his birth year as 1968. Now, this wasn't seen on screen in the movie, this is just a photo of the prop that was used in the movie that I'm going from, so I don't think we can take it as canon, but let's assume they're playing Bond at around the age of 50 in No Time to Die. That would mean that Blofeld is 20 years older than him and would have to be 70 in this film, and yet they quite clearly grew up together. We have photos of them both in Spectre as a pair of adolescents, and so I'll be very interested to see if that detail is corrected for the final film, or if the birth year is indeed supposed to be true and accurate. Then I'm guessing that there's a lot more to this detail and how it factors into Saffin's scheme. Saffin himself, I assume, is going to be revealed as some kind of former Spectre agent who was utilizing their resources in ways that they didn't like, so he went rogue, and now he's going to come in and kill all of Spectre, lest they interfere with his dastardly schemes. Since the trailer, there have been plenty of rumors circulating that Saffin is indeed going to be revealed to be Dr. No, particularly after you can draw a very clear parallel between these two lines.
History isn't kind to men who play God.
Our asylums are full of people who think they're Napoleon. Oh, God.
Personally, I really hope they don't go down that route and treat the reveal of the Dr. No name as some kind of big surprise. I've already talked at length about how much the similar reveal in Spectre with Blofeld does not work. It is essentially an Easter egg for fans that's forced into the guise of a dramatic reveal. The reveal that Eve was actually Moneypenny at the end of Skyfall was a nice little surprise, and was very much presented as a little cherry on top type of detail. In Spectre, there's such a build-up to Waltz revealing himself as Blofeld. The film treats this development as a big deal, with music and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't work because it's a detail that only matters to the audience watching, and none of the characters in the scene in the film. There is no dramatic weight to revealing that Oberhauser would rather go by the name of Blofeld, because it doesn't make a blind bit of difference to the characters in the scene. He could have equally said, "The man inside your head is Walter Knobloch III.
Catchy name.
And the reaction from the characters in the scene would be pretty much the same. So it would be pretty much the same thing if Saffin were to suddenly blurt out, "Oh, by the way, I'm a doctor, don't you know?" Doctor no. Like, I just don't think that that kind of detail is ever really going to make a big difference to the drama on the screen, and in that case, why bother? However, it certainly looks like they're going that way. Rami Malek has been all coy and hinty about it in interviews.
It's not as if I was, going back to play an exact character. I wasn't playing Dr. No again or anything to that degree.
But the detail that convinced me more than anything that this is inevitable is the fact that here, we can see that Saffin has been shot on the left side of his chest, usually where the heart would be. And of course, the detail of Dr. No from the Fleming book is that he was born with his heart on the right side of his chest. So, unless they're just lifting bits from Fleming's work and repurposing it for this character, I now expect we will have a big Dr. No reveal at some point during the film, which in concept I'm not really happy about, but hey, we'll see what they do with it. I just never thought that I would be more interested in a returning Christoph Waltz as Blofeld than any of this new villain Dr. No stuff, but yet here we are. So that's my take on the whole Spectre Blofeld being in No Time to Die element. As always, please do let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments section below. I've heard a lot of very wild fan theories out there about this particular element, and I'm shocked at myself about getting so invested in this. Like I've said in my Spectre review, the whole Spectre element to that film and Blofeld was something that I didn't really enjoy, and yet I'm really anticipating and thinking a lot about how those elements are going to be used in the new Bond film, so I think there's going to be a lot to talk about. And as always, please do head over to my Twitter and Facebook pages if you would like to join in conversations there. There is also my Patreon page if you care to support this channel, and until next time, Bond fans, so long for now.